In the near future, Earth is invaded by a mysterious alien race known as the Mimics. These creatures are fast, intelligent, and almost impossible to defeat. In just a few months, they have devastated a large part of Europe. The armies of the world unite in a desperate attempt to launch one final counterattack. Among the human soldiers is someone who has absolutely nothing of a hero about him. Major William Cage is a military public relations officer. His job is mainly to produce propaganda for the army, certainly not to fight. Cage has never held a weapon in his life, but one day, everything changes. General Brigham is preparing a gigantic military operation. Millions of soldiers will land in Europe to push back the Mimics. Cage receives a direct order. He must accompany the troops into battle and film the operation. Panicking, he tries to refuse. He even threatens the general with revealing military secrets to avoid going. Bad idea. As a result, Cage is immediately arrested, accused of desertion, and sent to the front by force as an ordinary soldier. From one day to the next, he is transformed into a completely inexperienced recruit. Cage is sent to a military base where he meets a brutal sergeant responsible for training the new recruits. Nobody believes his story. To them, he is simply another coward. The following morning, the soldiers climb aboard enormous military transports to launch the assault on the beach. The battle strongly resembles the D-Day landings, but this time, humanity is facing an extraterrestrial enemy. Among the soldiers is the famous warrior Rita Vrataski. She is known as the Angel of Verdun, a legendary heroine who has already defeated hundreds of Mimics. But the moment they reach the beach, everything turns into a nightmare. Mimics emerge from everywhere. They are unbelievably fast and seem to anticipate every human attack. The troops are slaughtered within minutes. Cage, who does not even know how to operate his combat exoskeleton, completely loses control. Yet, in a desperate act of survival, he manages to kill a strange mimic, larger than the others, but he dies in the explosion that follows. And then, something impossible happens. Time resets. Cage opens his eyes and wakes up at exactly the same moment as the day before. The same military base. The same sergeant. The same soldiers. The day begins again. At first, Cage thinks he is going insane. But very quickly, he discovers the terrifying truth. He is reliving the same day over and over again. Every time he dies, he wakes up at the starting point. A true time loop. With each repetition, Cage begins to learn. He memorizes events, anticipates dangers, and survives longer and longer on the battlefield. But even with all his knowledge, the battle remains almost impossible to win. During another attempt on the beach, Rita Vrataski watches Cage fighting with strange precision. Before he dies, she gives him a surprising message: "Find me when you wake up." In the next cycle, Cage finds her at the base. And against all expectations, she does not seem surprised. Rita then reveals an incredible secret. She has experienced the same time loop before. After killing a special mimic in the past, she gained the same power as Cage. Thanks to it, she was able to win impossible battles, until the day she was seriously wounded and received a blood transfusion. That transfusion made her lose the power. But Cage still has it. Rita decides to train Cage until he becomes the perfect soldier, and the training is extremely brutal. Every day, Cage learns how to handle weapons, operate exoskeletons, and master combat tactics. And every time he fails, Rita kills him herself so they can start the day again, and again, and again. Through hundreds of time loops, Cage gradually becomes a formidable fighter. But the mimics always seem to have the advantage. Why? Because they are controlled by a central intelligence known as the Omega, a mysterious entity capable of manipulating time itself. The key to winning the war appears when Rita and Cage meet an eccentric scientist named Dr. Carter. According to him, the mimics operate like a vast neural network. When an alpha mimic dies, the Omega sends time backwards to correct the mistake, exactly as Cage does. Cage has therefore stolen this power without even realizing it. If they can locate the Omega, they may finally be able to end the war by destroying it, after countless loops. Cage and Rita discover the probable location of the Omega, a gigantic creature hidden inside a dam somewhere in Europe. They prepare a suicide mission with their squad, but to succeed, Cage must be prepared to give up his power, because a serious injury could cause him to lose the time loop forever. Despite this, he accepts. The mission begins, and as so often happens, everything goes wrong. The soldiers fall one by one against the mimics. Rita sacrifices herself so that Cage can reach the Omega. In one final desperate effort, Cage dives into the water and detonates all his grenades directly inside the creature. The Omega dies, and so does Cage, but just before his death, the Omega's blood mixes with his own, triggering one final reset of time. Cage wakes up one last time. But this time, he finds himself in a world where the war already appears to be over. The mimics have mysteriously been destroyed. The alien invasion is finished. Cage returns to the military base and finds Rita. She does not remember him, but he remembers everything. And he smiles, because this time, the loop is finally broken.